All right, and hello and welcome back, everybody. This is David with Fairmare's Rangers. Are you ready for a new episode? We're doing What's More Likely. All right, we're doing this top 10 style. We're starting off with 10. Now, before we get started, this is not any particular order, so don't beat me up on this. All right, guys, let's get into this. Oh, wait. Can I ask y'all a question? Are y'all ready for this? Let's do it. All right, now I want y'all to respond in the comments below on what you think. We're going to start this off on what's more likely? Empire 2 Total War or Empire Total War Remastered? Now, I've gone over this quite a bit on the channel, so I'm not going to try to be too redundant, but let me give it a stab. I mean, how cool would it be to see the UI improved so our unit cards aren't a complete mess? I know diplomacy is quite the stick for a lot of people. Need to see that fixed a little bit, but of course not making it too easy. Seeing the nations reworked to give them more depth, and absolutely seeing the native factions getting a little bit better help. Maybe seeing the Comanches actually being their own nation. Of course, we need to see the battle AI have improvement, having units that are better suited to stay in firefights, staying in a firefight, instead of seeing them go into melee. Having some of the regions reworked a little in battles, it'd be nice to see that the forts are completely taken out of the game, having them replaced with earthworks on the map that can be destroyed, similar to what houses can be done. These, of course, can be made to look similar to what the forts are in the game. And of course, we need to rework all the maps to make sure that there's nothing that can hold up reinforcements from being able to come onto the map. And on, there's many more. You can list them in the comments below. While you're down there in the comments, don't forget to let me know what you think is more likely. Empire 2 Total War or Empire Remastered Total War? Let's move on to 9. All right, number 9, what's more likely? Empire 2 Total War or Warhammer 4 or 14 or whatever the hell number we're at? Say what you want about Warhammer, they're still churning out the games for it, and they're actually selling quite a bit, so it could be possible. If I'm not mistaken, for Total War to get another Warhammer game, they would have to get another contract with Games Workshop for licensing for Warhammer, but who knows, that could be possible. I mean, let's be honest here, guys. They're definitely putting out more of the Warhammer than they are anything else at this point. Anyway, let's move on to number 8. What's more likely? Empire 2 Total War or Shogun 3 Total War? Oh yeah, it's the history fanboy favorite, Shogun. Who knows, maybe they would come up with making it a game where you could combine Japan and then expand outward into China and Korea. Who knows? Definitely is a lot of possibilities with expanding into areas that we're not really familiar with in the Total War series in Asia. I don't think too many people bought Three Kingdoms, did they? Uh-oh, I'm probably going to get negative comments from both of the people who bought Three Kingdoms now. Anyways, let me know in the comments what you think. And moving on to 7. What's more likely? Empire 2 Total War or Medieval 3 Total War? Oh god, Empire 2 is up against the game that would send a lot of the history fanboys into ecstasy. Like the first time they were left home alone when their mom went to the grocery store and they were on the internet. What? Did I go too far with that joke? I mean, it's not like they're not going to be able to hold their swords when they're playing the game. I'm sorry, I can't. Anyway, let me know in the comments below which one you think is more likely between these two. Yeah. All right, let's move on before I get ridiculous. Number 6, what's more likely? Empire 2 Total War or Medieval 2 Remastered? Oh my god, I gotta do this again? Okay, I think this is pretty self-explanatory. So, Medieval 2 is the game that came out prior to Empire, so it would almost make sense that they would go to a remaster of Medieval 2, since they just did a remaster on Rome, which was the predecessor to Medieval 2. Or am I just overthinking this? I don't know. What do you guys think? What's more likely? On to number 5. What's more likely? Empire 2 Total War or Rome Total War 3? Jesus! How many of these Rome games are we going to have to see? Well, I don't know. Is it more likely to see a Rome 3? I mean, they keep throwing out DLC for Rome 2. My God, they just keep putting more and more on this game. Before you know it, it's going to be like a stupid EU4 game where you have to spend like $600 to get a game. I don't know though, maybe it's time to nuke Rome 2 and go on to 3. Let me know what you think is more likely. Now, number 4. What's more likely? Empire 2 Total War or Lord of the Rings Total War? Oh yeah, the rumors have been out there for quite some time about a Lord of the Rings Total War, but my God, can they get this done? I don't know about that. I mean, that license is gonna be pretty steep for this cheap-ass CA to pull off. I don't know that they could put the effort into it that would hold up to the standards of the Tolkien estate. What am I talking about? Money talks, people. I'm curious to see what you guys are gonna have to say in the comments. Which one you think is more likely, Lord of the Rings or Empire 2? All right, dialing into number 3, we got what's more likely, Empire 2 Total War or Thrones of Britannia 2? What? Would CA actually put out a second of Britannia? I mean, it was riding the coattails of Vikings on TV and Last Kingdom on TV. I mean, my gosh, and then it tanked like, Well, you get what I'm saying, but really wasn't Thrones of Britannia like Medieval 3 Total War? Like a bad version of it? I mean, what am I kidding myself? It might be a bad version of whatever we get. All right, moving on to number 2. What's more likely, Empire Total War 2 or Troy 2? Troy? I mean, doesn't Troy already fit into the category of being Rome 3 and Warhammer 4 combined? I don't know, but would the possibility of them putting out a 2 actually be there? Sadly, the way they've come back to the gunpowder era, yeah, it actually could be. Who knows? Maybe they'll release it on Super Nintendo first this time. Okay. I think we're getting to number 1. What's more likely? Empire 2 Total War or Napoleon 2 Total War? What? Well, the first Napoleon has one thing going for it. It has practically nobody playing campaigns in single player, but most of the people playing Napoleon seem to play in multiplayer. So I guess that the theme of the moral of the story is that people in Napoleon Total War don't play with themselves, where the rest of us playing the other games like to play with ourselves? What? So does that mean if they put out a Napoleon 2 Total War that it's going to be a multiplayer focused game? Huh. That's interesting. Maybe they would actually do multiplayer campaigns that actually worked really well, where you could play with more than just 2 people? I don't know the possibilities, but who knows? Would it be better than an Empire 2? CA would ramp this game up as being Napoleon 2, but by the time you get it and you start playing the game, you find out that it's actually Napoleon 3? I can see it in the comments below now. Some of you are going to be like, oh, hell yes. All right, so there it is, my top 10 of what's more likely. Please let me know in the comments below which ones you think are more likely than the other, Empire 2 or any of these 10. Which ones are more likely between Empire 2 and that? Of course, please keep in mind that it doesn't mean any of the games that CA does happen to put out, either Empire 2 or either of these 10 or any of these 10 games, doesn't mean that they're necessarily going to be any good. There was once a time where CA used to like to take risks and put out games that had big changes to what they were doing, and they took risks that sometimes we liked and sometimes we didn't, but I always appreciated the risks that they took. Now they just seem to be liking to keep the safe choices that have absolutely little risk whatsoever to them, almost so similar to NFL Madden football. Who knows, maybe one day CA will actually grow up and start listening to their fan base and their customers and actually start to innovate and try different new things that actually made them into the company that they are. Or I guess they can always take the safe choice and put out more of the same. I guess that's your bonus, what's more likely.